All right, y'all. Y'all won't believe who I got sitting next to me today. This right here, this right here is the founder of Hoop Mobb, home of the hoop and ring. It's been seen on Buzzfeed, Love and Hip Hop, and Time. She started her business back in February 1st of 2019. And if I can describe her business in a few words, let's see, culturally centered, unapologetic, affordable, and her jewelry is made with the utmost quality. And it's very trendy. So if you're wearing it, you're going to look fly. And she got something out there for everybody. She got something out there for the business-minded professional woman. She got something out there for the woman going to church on Sunday and the woman who was at the club the night before. She got something for everybody, right? And they definitely prioritize customer service. They put the customers first. That's not just a slogan that they use to attract clientele. They really don't play about their customers. So in her second year of being in business, she had a goal of doing $50,000 in that year. She shattered that goal by doing $325,000 in sales. And she can correct me if I'm wrong on this right now. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, that's
in
true.
the 4.5 years that she's been in business, 2 of those years, she went over the 7-figure mark in terms of sales. Y'all don't understand how incredibly difficult that is to do, how incredibly impressive that is. So by the end of this conversation, you guys will know why Donyale is a force to be reckoned with. You'll know why Donyale is a rising star. You'll know why her business has accomplished so much in such a short amount of time. And you definitely gonna know why this is only the beginning for her. This is only the beginning. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce all of you guys to the queen of the Hoop Mobb, Donyale Walton herself. What up, Donyale?
What up, man? What an introduction.
Man, I had to do it.
I was like, dang, he did his research.
I was about to go for 10 more minutes, Donyale. I said I was about to go for 10 more minutes, but I just said, I ain't gonna let my ego get in the way because it's about her.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you. So let me ask you this. How the hell did... Okay, so you was at the Erykah Badu concert last night.
I was.
In North Carolina. Because I looked online. I said, damn, it's Erykah. She just performed in Detroit not too long ago. So I know she ain't performing here again.
No,
right?
I missed that one because we were at Essence Fest.
Okay.
And so I was like, dang, I'm a Erykah stan. Okay. And I was like, I really want to go. I think I could squeeze it in. I was like, oh man, I got this interview. I could do it.
And you did it. But when the hell? Because last night I saw you post stuff with you singing along to Erykah Badu, and it was at it was probably like about midnight.
Yeah.
So when was your flight? Was it right after that?
It was 6 a.m.
Wow. And then you posted something with you taking your daughter. Like that's super mom right there, taking your daughter to school.
Yeah.
Right?
I had to pick her up today and drop her off real quick with my mom, but you gotta do what you gotta do.
And you still made it to do this interview.
I was 2 minutes early.
Wow. See y'all. Listen, going over 7 figures in sales in 2 years out of the 4.5 years that you've been in business, that's the mentality you gotta have. You gotta get it done.
You gotta get it done.
That's what's up. So Flint, Michigan. My wife is from Flint.
Yes.
Born and raised?
Born and raised.
Okay, I want you to describe to me the first house you remember living in and who was in that house. How many siblings? Your mother, your dad. Explain.
First house we lived in that I remember was on Sloan. If anybody's from Flint, the north side. It was just me and my mom. So my sister didn't come along till I was 6. We're 6 years apart, but really fun.
Younger than you? She's younger?
She's younger.
Okay,
than
gotcha.
Me, yes. So it was just me and my mom. It's so funny now looking back. I'm like, man, we were just growing up together.
Yeah,
my mom had me when she was 20. So, just a lot of cousins and family, and my grandma. Spent a lot of time with my grandmother. So, yeah.
Yeah, I know you had mentioned in one of your vlog videos how much of a hard worker your mama has always been, right? Still right. So at that time, was she was working in a factory or a plant or something like that? Or
no, my mom, like me, she has had a million jobs.
Oh,
so
I got you. A jack of all trades.
Yes.
She's gonna do whatever it takes to get it done.
Exactly.
Okay.
So she's worked literally everywhere, from retail to factory to in transportation, like everything. So she's always kept a job, always like one of those employees that her company loved, you know what I mean?
Low maintenance. Yeah.
She was like on time, gonna make it happen, like all of that. So yeah, she's a hard worker. She was my first employee for Hoop Mobb.
And oh wow, okay, we got to get into that later. So and also probably your first inspiration in terms of understanding what hard work looks like and what going after it looks like, right?
Absolutely. Like she hustled on top of working. Like her and my cousin, they would sell dinners like at the salons and stuff. Back in the day, people go around to the salons with food and stuff. And we were at the candy house in our apartment complex.
Yeah. I remember that.
We were the candy house. So she just always, so she did hair in the basement, literally like a hustler. And I don't think she really understood that was entrepreneurship. You know, a lot of us don't really look at that as like, if you braid hair, if you cut hair on the side, or if you, whatever you're doing, like that's a form of entrepreneurship in the Black community. Business.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Wow. Okay. So you and your sister, 6 years apart. Were you guys close at a young age, at the younger age?
Not really.
Because me and my sister 5 years apart too. So that gap, we didn't get close until we became adults.
Exactly. I'm honestly, like, we're just now getting to the point where I'm like, oh yeah, you grown.
I respect you now.
Right. You know? So yeah, we were, I mean, it was always both of us, you know what I mean? We were just really well-mannered kids, and like my mom would, of course she was working all the time, so we would have to get babysitted by different family and friends and stuff like that. So we had to be close when we were younger, but you know, when you get into those tween years, you want to just be with your friends. So
absolutely. Okay, so I'm gonna take another guess on this, right? Because you know, I'm looking at videos of you, I'm doing my research, and I'm like, man, this girl, like, she has such a vivacious personality, and it goes right along with your very colorful, vibrant fashion sense, right? But I'm like, she had to do theater at some point. And Flint, I know, and I'm just guessing, but I know you had to, because I can see a thespian when I see one. You know what I'm saying? So am I right or am I wrong?
That is wild that you would say that. I was in our thespian troupe at Flint Central. So that's actually pretty wild. Yes. So my mom put me in acting classes. She would, looking back on it, just knowing now as an adult, you realize like, dang, how are you doing this with this amount of money? You know what I mean? But I was in acting. I wanted to be in modeling class, all of these things. And then, when I got to high school, I joined our thespian troupe and was in like a few plays and stuff.
Wow. I knew that, man. You gonna get back, because I'm trying to see you on Tubi.
Listen,
I just saw a film because of you. You promoted it. It's called Everything is Both. So starring Jason Mitchell, I think Bart Fitzpatrick. They both were in The Shy.
Yep.
Right.
And then one of my good friends produced that. Yes.
Lynn Washington. She's from Flint. Right. And I saw you promoting that. So you promote other Flint artists.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, when I'm gonna see you on Tubi? When I'm gonna see you somewhere?
Listen, I gotta get with Jaquavis. Maybe he'll put me in the next one.
All right, what's his name?
Jaquavis Coleman.
All you other filmmakers out here in Detroit, y'all gotta put my girl on, man, because she got it. I can tell. I'm a filmmaker.
Listen, you gonna put me in a whole nother career.
I'm just saying. I'm sure you gonna juggle it.
That's what I do.
You just gotta hire another assistant.
Listen, that's it.
So once you graduate from high school, right? And I know you did some years in college too, and then you worked in Flint during your younger adult phase, right?
Yeah, I worked a little bit in Flint, and then let's see, I took some internships in New York. So
so you was back and forth.
Yeah. I got you. So okay. I went to Mott Community College in Flint, and when it was time to like get internships, I don't know. I've always been like a fashion girl. Like I was one of those, watching The Hills and The City and that, you know. So I'm like, well, I want a fashion internship. Like I don't want to go, to a local bank or business,
When did you know you wanted to be in the world of fashion? At what age?
Pretty early. So after high school, I was a dancer in high school, so I was a majorette and all of that. And after, like, I knew I wasn't going to college to dance. Like fashion was the next closest love. So, and it's a part of dance. It's like costumes and uniforms and all of that. So, you just naturally kind of love putting looks together.
Absolutely.
And my grandmother, she was really big into fashion. She was like a store manager back in the day, and I could tell that was like her passion. She ended up retiring from GM, but she always talked about her time like at the Vogue. That was the name of the store.
So this was your maternal grandmother.
Yes.
So, and she passed away earlier this year. The late great Emma Jean.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. So tell me what it was that she meant to you. What did you learn from your grandma?
Yeah, she so they call me Emma Jr. in my family.
Oh wow.
Literally everything. So I just feel like what I'm experiencing now is just the seeds that she planted, and like the things that she would have loved to see come to fruition in her life. So she anybody who knows her is like, she's always so sharp. oh my gosh, she knows how to dress. Like she loved it. And she would like, on the low, be like, you get that from me. You get that style.
She was proud of it.
Yeah, she was so proud of it. And she actually sold jewelry.
Wow.
So yeah, she had a company called Unique Exquisite, and it was so crazy to see because she would have, she would rent out like a hotel, kind of banquet room, right? Mm-hmm. She would have food, and she would set up all of these like jewelry displays across the whole room. All of the church ladies would be clamoring. Like as soon as it starts, they're in there because they're like, she would only have one or two of different things. And they're like, no, I won't first pick. Wow. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it was so crazy to see like this room filled with women. I'm like, and she, it's no social media for her age group. You know what I mean? So it's just, it was naturally in her and people kind of gravitated towards that. Her, yeah. And so it was so, just amazing to see her really get back to that. Because this was in her, 60s, 70s that she was selling jewelry. So that let people know that you're never too old to do something that you're passionate that you love. Yeah, like she got back to her love. So with me starting my company, and actually when I started, I was like, oh, I hope she don't feel the way that I'm selling jewelry too. You know?
Oh, for real? Like you trying to Granny, jock my style?
Right. Yeah, we got two different customers, Granny.
Don't be messing with my money. Right. Yeah.
But no, she loved it. And she, like, as her health started to decline, she would, she stopped doing her parties. But as my business was picking up, she would call and say, do you need help, packing anything? Or I could come over and sit. She would literally come over and sit and help package earrings. Her and my mom, when we finally got an office space, she would come up there sometimes and kind of just, do what she could. Like she loved to see the success of it.
It was kind of her way of seeing even her dream become more realized through you. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. And she really supported my dream. Like, they're from that era where it's like, get a good job and like, stability. But I was always a dreamer. And so although that scared her, I could tell because I had to like, she would be worried, you know what I mean? When it's like, oh, I'm going to move to New York. What do you mean you moved to New York? So, but she would still like slide me $20. Like, okay, do what you got to do. You know what I mean? Like she would still support me through that. So I feel like to see, she vocalized that before, like, I'm glad you didn't stop dreaming. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I was happy that she got a chance to see it.
Wow. So you got that inspiration from your grandma, and rest in peace, Emma Jean, on your mother's side. Mm-hmm. But then on your father's side, your paternal grandmother bought you your first pair of earrings.
Yes. Wow.
You're
great at this.
No, I mean, I'm a little obsessed. I know my wife came in the room. She said, would you stop looking at videos of her? That's the 17th video.
She did. My grandmother, so it's so funny. I'm like a granny's baby on both sides.
And she was in Florida, right?
Yes. Okay. No diss to my parents because I love them, but like I'm a granny's baby. Okay. Both of my grannies, I just love them. But I went to go visit for the first time. My dad's family lives in Miami, so I went to go visit for the first time when I was like 12. And she was like, do you have a real pair of earrings? And I'm like, no. So we went, and it was like nothing fancy. It was like kind of like a market, you know what I mean? It was a bunch of vendors, you know what I mean?
Kind of how it is in New York a lot of times.
Yeah. You could go and it's like they're selling a bunch of different
like
stuff.
Flea market or something.
Yeah, exactly. So there was a booth that they have real jewelry. So she bought me a pair of hoops, and I still have them to this day. Literally, I don't know any other piece of jewelry I've kept up with, and it's not even like purposefully. So I feel like that's a sign. It's a sign. You know what I mean? So. I love her, but she bought me my first pair of hoops. So,
okay. So, the thing that inspired me the most about you wasn't after you had the millions of dollars of sales and none of that stuff. It was when you were still here in Flint. Mm-hmm. You were back and forth to New York interning, right? Yep. Pursuing your passion in fashion. Mm-hmm. And you wanted to go to Fashion Week and you had negative $3 in your account. I want you to I want you to take your time. I don't give a damn if it take 2 hours. I want you to take your time and walk us through that entire story.
Yeah, that was a faith walk. Okay. Yeah. So and at that time, I was, you know how you go through those points in your life where you're just kind of longing for a relationship with God and you're like needing to build that foundation in your life. So I had joined a new church and he really kind of harped on like radical faith. Like, do you really believe, or do you believe up until a certain point? Or, you know, because God can do literally anything, you know? So Fashion Week was coming up. I feel like I was doing like, you know, little YouTube videos and stuff like that, which is so funny, you know, going live now and everything kind of works out. You know, you never know why you're doing things back in the day, but it all
helped
works
you
together.
Today, because that's why you're good at it today.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this conference was coming up. It was like a bloggers conference, you know, when blogs were really, really big. And so I was like, dang, it came up faster than I thought it would. I'm like, oh shoot, that's in like 2 weeks, you know.
Yeah.
And the tickets had sold out, and I was like, oh, okay, well. But then they were like, oh, but we're giving away 4 tickets, and all you gotta do is like submit a video.
Right.
And I had already been doing videos, so I was like, oh, this is easy. Like,
and you didn't have any money for the ticket at that time, so
No.
it was perfect timing.
Exactly. I didn't have the money, and they were sold out, so I was gonna kind of chalk it up. But when they said like they were giving away tickets, I was like, okay, if I get a ticket, I still didn't have plane money or like to go stay, you know. So I'm like, but if I get a ticket, that's at least the first step to get there.
I'm getting chills. keep going. Go ahead.
That's at least the first step. So I submit the video, which I was really comfortable because I was already doing like little YouTube fashion tip videos and stuff. So I submit the video, got chosen as a winner. I was like, yes. But then I was like, damn, I would really hate to win this ticket and tell them like, actually, I can't come. I ain't got no money. So
I got negative $3 in my account, so I don't know how I'm gonna get there, but yeah.
Don't know. So won the ticket, and I'm like, okay, you know, we're gonna figure this thing out. And I'm still like kind of searching for like what's about to happen. Like I feel a miracle about to happen, but like I don't know where it's coming from. And then the day before I was supposed to leave, I was like, what are you going to do? Like, you don't have no ticket. You don't have any money. And the thing is, I didn't get paid. I was getting a check, but it wasn't until
like a couple of days later. Yeah.
So, I was literally like, what are you going to do? And I was like, well, radical faith. Like I'm not staying here. I got a ticket.
But you was in the word too. So, you know, asking you shall receive. You was
all of that.
Yeah, you was believing all of that.
Yes.
Radical
and
faith.
I was like, I'm gonna put it to the test, you know? So I was packing my bag that night, and I told my mom, I was still living with my mom at this point. I was like, you gotta take me to the airport in the morning. I'm going to New York. And she's like, okay.
Wow.
She's so used to me doing random stuff. She's like, okay. But then that's when it got scary, because it's like, dang, you don't want to get your mama involved in your mess, you know? Like, she got to get up in the morning and take you to the airport. Like, this is messy.
Yeah.
So, but I'm like, okay, we're going to do this thing. I'm packing, and, you know, I guess it was just like a motherly kind of sense. She was like, you need some money? And I was like,
what you say?
No, she asked me, did I have any money?
Yeah.
And I was like, I got a little something. I was like, I'll pack some snacks and stuff. And she was like, girl. So she, on the way to the airport, she stopped at the ATM. She gave me $100.
Yeah.
And so.
But see, this is important because you didn't tell her you needed anything.
I didn't.
Okay, keep going.
I didn't tell her I needed anything. And had I not even applied for the ticket and then had the faith to like get up, pack, all of that, and then ask her to take me, I'm like, I'm $100 better off. You know what I mean? Like, that's still not going to get me where I need to go. Like, it's not going to buy a plane ticket. It's not going to give me a hotel. Well, actually, I was going to stay with my friend when I got there.
Yeah, but that was a part, like, her actually, because you were saying earlier, like, man, damn, I don't want to get her caught up in my mess. But she was a part of that journey.
Yes.
Because you needed to get that $100.
And that's what a lot of people get caught up in when it comes to, like, faith. It's like, it's one step at a time. The whole thing might not be answered. You know, you might not get the whole answer, but like you just got to keep going, and like little
one
pieces
foot in front of the other. Yep,
yeah, it's gonna unlock. So she gave me the $100. She dropped me off at the airport, and I'm like, all right, go, because I don't know how this is gonna work out. Like, don't stick around, please. So I get to the airport, and I go to the desk, and just asked them how much is a standby flight. And they're like, oh, it was like $300, something, I don't know. So I'm like, okay. So I just sit.
Because you only got $100.
I only have $100.
Yeah.
I literally just sit at the airport, and I'm like, I'm not going back home, so Lord, it's just me and you. I don't know I'm cracked open my Bible.
You said, I got to have faith in you. Ask and I shall receive.
Listen,
what's up?
What's up? I sit there with my Bible, and then my cousin, her stepdad, was there. I saw him. I was like, oh, maybe he's going to.
Maybe this is it. Yeah.
And so I'm like, hey. He's like, what's up? I'm like, I'm just trying to get to New York. I don't got no ticket. He was like, you ain't got no ticket, girl. You better get a ticket. Like, see ya. I was like, oh, shoot. Okay. That didn't work out. So I'm just sitting there, and I'm just believing. And I'm like, I'm not going home. So I got there at like 6 a.m, I think. It was at this point like 11 or 11:30. I go back up to the desk. It's the same ladies from the morning. Mm-hmm. And they're like, you still here? And so she's like, let me see what I can do. She's typing. Another lady comes out, and she was like, do you have a buddy pass? And I was like, please, God. Oh, God, please.
This is it.
And she's like, I think I might have one. And she asked me how much money I had. I was like, I got $100. And she was like, okay, that'll work. And I was like, but that's really all I have.
I need to eat when I get there. Yeah.
And she was like, okay. She was like, give her the $100. I gave the other lady $100. And the lady that was helping me gave me $10 out of her own purse. When I tell you I'm in the airport sobbing because I'm like, I'm on the plane.
Yeah.
I went from like no money, not knowing how I'm going to get there, to a few hours later, I'm getting on a plane.
Wow.
And although I only have $10, like, I'm going to still keep following the next step. So I knew I needed to get to the airport. I needed to get to my friend who I was staying with, Kayla. And she lived in Jersey. So that's like, that's going to take a few
little
dollars,
bit to get there. Yeah.
So when I get to New York, I need to buy a train ticket. And I'm looking for a machine. The machine that I was at, I think it didn't take cash or something like that. And so the guy who was helping me trying to find one, he was like, I'll just get it.
Yeah. Wow. And that was about like what? How much? $5 or something like that?
That was like a $5 card. But still, it was like I didn't have to spend my $10.
That's another character in your story who helped you. Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm like, Lord, at this point, I'm on fire. I'm like, yes, Lord, you doing it. I'm here. Like, I'm in New York. How? Yeah. So, yep, he got me that train ticket. I get to my friend because she was at work still. And I get there and I'm telling her, like, girl, what happened to her? She was like, oh, my God. So we go to her house. I'm able to get to the conference, which was the next day. And it was just such a blessing because because I won tickets, you were like VIP basically. Like they gave you these cameras to use. They gave you like a gift bag and like all of that. Like it was like,
wow, you had everything you needed.
Everything, literally everything. So it was just such a great experience. And then it was funny because after that, I was like a sitting duck until my check deposited.
Yeah. Your girl was like, hey, you want to go out to eat? No, I'm good. I'm just stomach growling. I'm just
not yet, girl. Yeah. So my mom, and then of course, so my mom, I don't know. I guess this is back in the day before I was like direct depositing and stuff. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, Mom, go deposit my check, and she don't know that I'm flat broke. So she's like taking her time, and I'm like,
hey, Mama, you did that yet? I'm working, baby. Hey, but yeah, I'm just asking.
I need to go. Yeah. So I'm just sitting at my friend's house. She again is at work, and then I'm like, again, because this is a point where I'm like deep in building my relationship with God. I'm reading my Bible, flip open the page, and there's a $20 bill in the Bible.
Wow.
And I'm like,
wow.
Hello?
Wow.
I'm like, what?
I would have rememred had I put this money in here.
Exactly.
Where the heck did this come from?
This is a very broke time in my life. I don't just lose $20. Okay. So, no. And I'm like, oh, thank you, Lord. And then years later, my friend Kayla was like, oh, yeah, I did put $20 in your Bible. I'm like, girl.
Yeah.
oh my God. Yeah. So that whole experience really, really built my faith to where even now, like today when I flew, my bag was not on the plane, and I didn't discover that till I got here. And I'm still like, well, all things work together for my good.
Wow.
You know, I'll get it.
Wow. And it's just so like amazing how the Spirit of God was working through everybody that to help you get to where
They didn't even know.
they didn't even know.
But when you believe, it don't matter.
Wow.
People will work on your behalf. They don't even know.
So at this time, man, that's an incredible. Go to her page on YouTube.
Yeah.
Is it Donyale Walton or is it the business name? I can't remember.
No, it's Donyale Walton. That video is Donyale.
But I'm telling you, she got some stuff on there, especially for aspiring business owners. Like she got some stuff on there for y'all. So thank you for telling that story. That's an amazing story. It inspired the heck out of me. I'm being moved to tears. I'm in the gym. I'm working out around all these buff guys, and they like, "What you all right, man?" I'm like, "No, it's just a little draft." It was because you don't have no choice but to be impacted by that story.
Yeah.
So now you decide I want to move to New York, right? When you tell your family members, and I'm sure Emma Jean was like, "Yo, what you doing? That's scary out there, right?"
Yeah.
How did your mother react? How did your sister react? How did your friends react when you told them I'm making that leap?
Well, so I had already interned there for a few months. So I was there for 5 months, came back to Michigan, and then I want to say like a year and a half later, I was like, okay, I'm gonna take the leap. One of my friends, Corey Stokes, he was a stylist and he could hire his own assistants, and so he's like, just come on, I'll get you a job. And so
Shout out to Corey Stokes.
Shout out to Corey Stokes, another Flintstone, really doing his thing.
Nice.
But he told me that I was at work. I was working at Forever 21 at the time, which is also crazy. I was working at Forever 21 in Fairlane from Flint.
Wow.
Driving to Fairlane from Flint.
It's crazy.
Which is crazy.
Yeah,
but
it's like an hour and a half. Something like that.
I was wanting to, I was so into fashion and I was doing merchandising. So I was like, oh, it brings me closer, whatever. But he told me that I was at work. He was like, if you, whenever you're ready, just come on. And I put in my 2 weeks that day.
Wow.
I put in my 2 weeks that day and I was gone 2 weeks later.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like, all right, I'm ready. So
it happened quick.
It happened very quick and I started working immediately. And again, I do have kind of that hustle spirit. So when I got there, I was working with him, but I was also, I was in Barnes and Nobles on the weekends, going through fashion magazines, looking at who was the stylist, who was the assistants, who were the editors. And I was like finding their emails like, hey, I just moved to New York. Do you need an assistant? Da, da, da. And they're like, oh, actually I do, So just from that, I assisted a stylist for like Vogue Mexico, like Harper's Bazaar. Like,
wow.
I was hustling. And like a lot of like back then, photographers, everybody needed, a portfolio of some sort. So a photographer needs a stylist and I needed to work with a good photographer to get, my styling portfolio or whatever. So we would, just collab on projects and stuff like that. So I hit the ground running as soon as I moved to New York. But my family, they already knew that I was like...
They saw it coming.
Yeah.
Right. Man, shout out to Emma Jean. Also, your mother's name is Robin, right?
Yes.
Man, shout out to Robin because that's where you develop that hustler's spirit and mentality.
Yep. Like, definitely, she is like a go-getter. And still, like, even... with the business, I laugh all the time. I'm like, this is your business because
this ain't really mine. That's why I get to go see Erykah Badu and do my thing at the Essence Fest.
Yes, because she does not play about like making sure Hoop Mobb is in order. So,
right. Wow. Okay, so while you in New York, right? Because me and my wife, we were in California for about 10 years, and I went out there because I wanted to be a filmmaker. But then I get there and I'm like, this ain't really what I want. Right? It took for me to go out there for me to realize that I didn't need to be out there to pursue my passion.
Yeah.
Right. And I wanted to be back closer to family. And then it's different out there,
it's
you know,
different.
And I'm not going to say it's different in a bad way because some people love it, but it just wasn't like, I like to be in an environment or in a city where people can still stop and appreciate the flowers and smell the roses. But out there, it's like this hustle and bustle, go, and all of that.
What can you do for me? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So at what point did you decide, man, I don't want to be here anymore? Because you were doing great out there.
I was, but so when I was out there, I had interned again at Oprah Magazine, and then I ended up getting hired in at Brooks Brothers in a marketing role. And it's still, although I was like, okay, this is great, like corporate fashion position, I felt like I still wasn't able to be creative. And I was like, I felt like nobody was giving me the opportunity to be creative. And then, so that really messed with my self-esteem. Like, am I creative? Like, am I talented? Because I'm not getting the opportunities that I really want. You know what I mean? So career-wise, I was a little stagnant and a little like unhappy. And then New York, the older you get, it's real cute when you're young. You know what I mean? When you're young.
That's like LA too. Yeah.
Yeah, when you like don't care about roommates and you don't care about your comforts of your home, that's real cute. But the older I got, I'm like, why am I walking in this snow to get to my apartment? Like, this is stupid. Like, I was like, okay, I'm over it.
Yeah,
so especially I'm like, you know, New York kept getting more expensive. So I'm like moving further and further deeper into Brooklyn. And then, I'm just like, I know I can be comfortable at home.
You
know
saw
what I mean?
a quote on IG, and the quote on IG said, if you don't love the life you have, then change it.
Change it.
And that's what happened.
That's what I did. I was like, I can go home and I'm going to be okay. Like, I feel like when people leave and come back home, there's a little bit of shame attached to that, but there was no shame.
Listen, well, it wasn't any shame for me, but me and my wife, as soon as we got back, we got that question from everybody.
Really?
Family members too, because they was like, well, where we going to go visit now?
Oh,
like it was, why are you moving back to Detroit? Why are you moving back here?
Yeah.
So we got that question so much that it was like, so how did you handle those questions? There was no shame on your part, so you had no problem answering those questions, no matter how often they came up. But how did you handle that?
People did ask that and didn't understand. So, and then people immediately are like, oh, she must fell off or something, you know. But the reality is, like, if you've never left, then you don't know. You know what I mean? So I just really, I don't know. I told people the truth. Like, I was over it. You know what I mean? But I just never really let it get to me. And then when I came back, my eyes were so open as far as the opportunities here. And like, Michigan is such like a blank slate when it comes to, I don't know, being creative and all of that. Out there, it was kind of like,
you got to be under somebody. There's a hierarchy, right?
A hierarchy. There is definitely a hierarchy, and you're a drop in a bucket. You know what I mean? There's everybody goes there to be
about
creative.
who you know. Very political. I got that. Yep.
So I was like, you know, I felt more inspired. It did take a while to get my juices back, I would say. I tell people this a lot. Like, I feel like New York kind of sucked me dry as far as my creativity and all that. So it took a minute to like build my self-esteem back up in that way, which I think a lot of people don't acknowledge.
That's true.
You know what I mean? It's like sometimes the wind gets knocked out of you, and maybe you don't know. And it's like, okay, you have to build that muscle back up. So
wow. So yeah. Wow. Okay. So it definitely took something from you, just I guess creatively, emotionally, all of those things, but it was like college for you at the same time.
It was exactly my college. Like, again, I went to community college, and so I didn't have that like university, like going away, learning yourself type of experience, but I feel like New York was that for me. And I guess when people do go away, everybody kind of experiences that when you go away, that soul searching, that I don't know who I am, that, you know, that feeling that I felt in New York. But the crazy thing is, literally every single thing that I experienced there is helping me now. So
wow. Okay, so now you back home. You hadn't, started the Hoop Mobb came later. Right? I think you even had your daughter
later.
Okay, later. Okay, I got you. Because Hoop Mobb has been in existence for 4.5 years. Your daughter is 5.
Yeah.
Right. Wow. Okay, got you. So when you got back, you were, I'm sure, starting new businesses, probably working somewhere, just trying to find your way.
Find my way. Yep. I worked. I feel like I worked every store in Somerset.
Said Neiman Marcus.
Yes.
Saks Fifth Avenue. Oh, there we go.
Crew, all of them. Yeah. So I was doing that, and I tried my hand at like offering styling services. I feel like at that point people really didn't get it, so, and it's not really that much of a need here.
Yeah.
It is, but it ain't.
They don't know they need it, but if you saw how they look out here.
But so I was just, trying a bunch of different things, but it was funny when I started working retail, like luxury retail. I really loved it because in New York is such a bubble, and living in New York, you kind of forget about the rest of the world. And so actually, because I was just a lover of fashion and studying the different designers and all that. But when you see how people actually interact with it in the real world, that was something that I feel like was very valuable. You know what I mean? To any business. Like, I feel like people should pay attention to like customer responses and what they're saying. And like, we use that to this day a
to
lot.
drive your business
Exactly.
or what direction you're going in.
Yep. So, in New York, it's like, oh, this is all the rage, or people are wearing this, but when those designs come to the Midwest, it's like, girl, no, we ain't wearing that, or women like, oh, I don't want my arms out, or this and that. So it's like, it was all still a learning experience. I really look at any job I've had as like, okay, what am I supposed to take from this? What am I supposed to learn from this? Because although I've had some great jobs and experiences, I never was completely happy. And now I know it was because I wasn't supposed to stay.
You just had to get what you needed to get from there to help you once you got to your destination.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, I got you. And then the crazy thing is that people always talk about, especially nowadays, like, I don't know if I want to, have kids until I'm on or until, my business is booming and this, that, and the third. And like people like, Mia Ray, Vanessa from Fancy Homebody, like, you guys had kids first. And then that caused you guys to get really, really serious and kick it into overdrive. So how did you feel like once you became a new mother? You know what I'm saying? Like the pregnancy, what happened directly after pregnancy? Because I saw a vlog you did where you talked about like balancing, figuring out what you wanted to do in the world and being a mother at the same time. So how was all of that when it happened? Was it, I mean, I don't know if you expected it to happen, but like, how did you react to it and how was your experience?
Pregnancy, how can I explain? It was like, I don't know. Pregnancy was very interesting. It was the hardest thing I've ever done, still, like, y'all have kids, like raising kids is like literally the hardest job ever.
Yeah.
So, but when I was pregnant, I don't know, that was a time of kind of like, looking back on it, I feel like I was a little like lost in the sauce, like not knowing exactly which direction I wanted to go in. I had quit Saks. I was working at a car dealership in Flint.
Oh, wow.
So I was selling cars pregnant. I told you I had a million jobs. Okay?
Yeah.
So
selling cars is tough when you ain't pregnant, so I can only imagine.
I was so over it.
Yeah.
The girls in the office were like, you should do real estate or something.
Well, you don't want to be here, do you?
Right?
Yeah.
Like, no. But yes, so my daughter's dad, he actually had a brand that he had already started. And after I had my daughter, I was like helping with the brand, and that's when I was like, oh, I like this e-commerce, like I love this direct to consumer, this product base. Like I was like, oh,
so your daughter's dad was another character in your story. Go ahead, keep going.
Yes. So that really kind of turned that light switch on for me as far as e-commerce. But it was definitely like trying to figure out how you were gonna do it all, you know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, I still need to work. I was working at the time, actually. And so that's why the first year of Hoop Mobb, it was really kind of like slow because I was still working, still trying to, just figure out what was next. And then, COVID happened. So I had to like turn it into overdrive.
Right. But thank God you chose to do e-commerce because it was perfect for COVID, right?
Yes.
Because you can still sell stuff from the comfort of your home.
Yes, exactly.
Wow. So how did you go about, I mean, like, and I'm sure you being in New York, or living in New York, that kind of helped when it came time to figure out, okay, which vendor I'm going to use, so on and so forth. I'm sure all of that helped, but what was the first step you took when that light bulb went off and you decided, man, I want to sell? Well, first off, what made you want to sell earrings?
Earrings. Okay, this is a funny story, and I've only told this to a few people, but I literally, I'm just a researcher, you know what I mean? So I was on YouTube. Again, my daughter was probably 5-6 months at this time. I'm on YouTube, like, how to make $1 million. How to make $1 million in 6 months. Like, I'm just trying to figure out, like, what's what, you know?
Yeah.
And so all of these like drop shipping videos was popping up, and like the guys would like literally start a store, and they'll go through the process of showing you, like, I'm going to show you how to start from zero to like making your first sale. And I just got like so engulfed in those, and they were like one product stores though. And I was like, that's interesting. Like, literally your whole business is like one product, like a cell phone case or something like that. Yeah. And so I'm like, what could that product be for me? And when I thought of earrings, I was like, oh, but hoop earrings, because, you know, I feel like those videos, they was just like get rich quick, you know, like whatever's trending, they're trying to find the hottest product. But for me, I was like, no, that would really mean something to me. You know what I mean? And I know I could really tell a story behind that. It's more than just like, let me make some money online real quick. You know what I mean? And then I was like, oh, I would die if I actually sold somebody something and never saw it. You know what I mean? As far as drop shipping, I was like, oh, I can't do drop shipping. So that's kind of how it evolved. It was like, I was kind of searching for something, like, what is that next thing for me? And then when I came up with that idea, I was like, oh no, this is deeper for me. You know what I mean? So that's how it happened.
Right. Because it couldn't just be about the money. You know what I'm saying?
It was not about the money. Like, you know, obviously I was kind of searching for something, but then I was like, no, this means something to me. It means something to other women. Like, I know there's a real story to tell, and like a connection that can be made.
Oh yeah.
Through this. So.
When I see women, especially when I was back in my club days, this is before Bridget, everything. You know, you see a woman walk in the club and she got a certain type of hoop on, you already knew what her vibe and her personality was just from that alone.
Yeah, she was fly.
She was fly.
Yeah.
And I you know, I'm looking at reviews. All of the reviews were great, by the way. But I'm looking at reviews, and this one girl was talking about this matte black. I think it was called Blackberry Soda. Right? And she was trying to scratch it. Like, just to try to see, like, was it gonna mess up? It didn't, right? And she was like, man, it's not gonna be the same wear and tear situation with other plated jewelry. And then she came back and did an update and said, you know, the color hadn't changed, no rusting, you know, didn't fade or anything like that. And then you had this other young lady, and she was so excited while trying them on, and it just it boosted her overall confidence, her overall mood, everything. The first 2 earrings that she tried on, because she bought like 5 pair. I think it was the, I want to say double roses.
Oh, yeah.
So that was one. The slim thick Diamond Girl. That was another one. And the shimmer, just the fact that if you just, like, this person walk in, you going to notice them right away for the right reasons, right?
Yeah.
And then she had another one. It was called Ghost, I think.
Oh, right? Yeah. The Ghost Hoop is our #1 seller for like 3 years at this point.
She said that you can wear it with anything.
With anything, yeah.
Clear, you can dress up in it, you can dress down. But the ones that's my favorite, and I'm actually ashamed to say this, the mini boos, right? Because you know what, LL Cool J, you know, I like a girl with extensions in her hair, bam boom earrings, at least 2 pairs. So you can get your sophisticated ratchet on, like I told you, for the girl.
The small little bamboo.
You got something for everybody. So just to see how excited they were when they opened it up, you know, saw the logo on it and put it on, and they felt like they were a part of a community.
That's my favorite part about it. Honestly, the connection, the people, even like on the business side of it, the employees, like, that's my favorite part, is just seeing people, connecting with people. When we were just at Essence Fest, and I'm working the booth, like, it's like I got to work this booth, okay?
And it was packed all day.
It was packed. And so people, it was funny, I would hear people asking at the counter, like, who's the owner? And they're like, oh, her. And they're like, her? Like, she was just helping me. I'm like, yeah, like, I got to be in this and do this. But I love connecting with people, and love, like, seeing their response and their reaction, like, one, that's like a learning lesson for me. I get to see how people interact and like respond to our product.
Because typically you just selling online, but you were up close and personal with the customers, right?
Yes. And then, so that with the reviews, with our group, we have the Facebook group.
Wait, don't leave. It's Sherry Shepherd, y'all. Sherry Shepherd bought the whole store up, bought the whole booth up. But anyway, keep
Sherry
going.
Shepherd, That Chick Angel, like, wow. We did something really slick. We the same bag I gave your wife, so we had those prepared.
She gave my wife a gift.
Yes. We had those prepared just in case somebody walked by. There's tons of people at Essence. So anytime I would see somebody,
that was smart. That was smart. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Shout out to Simone. Simone is like my right hand in Hoop Mobb, but she was like, we need some celeb bags prepared. So anytime I would see even just a commotion, I don't know who it is.
Yeah.
Give me a bag. Give me a bag.
Yeah.
And so if I would see somebody come and I would just, wait patiently, and I'm like, hey, we're from Hoop Mobb, we're home with the hoop earring, I just want to give you this gift. And I think people were shocked that we were just giving them a bag of goodies. And they're like, oh, no, I'll be back. Like, I'm going to come shop. So, yeah.
Oh, man, celebrities love free stuff. That was the way in right there. So, okay. So now, you got this business, you're doing your thing. The first year, like you said, you were still figuring stuff out. So didn't do as well as you wanted to do, but did better than you thought you would.
Yeah.
Right. Then you get to the second year, you set this goal of 50,000, you do 325,000. And here's the thing, one of your vlogs, which is crazy. And this is, I think, after you hired your mother. First off, you hired your mother full time.
Yeah.
What was that whole conversation like? When did you decide you wanted to do it? When did you decide you could do it?
Yeah, it was actually scary. I knew I needed an employee. And my mom, faithfully, as Hoop Mobb was growing, she would, after she got off work, she would come to my house and work, basically. Like, help me package things, help me with shipments, all of that. Especially because I have a daughter. So she's like, all right, I know you can't juggle everything. So literally every day she's like, what do you need today? And she'll be over to help me. And so, but still, like, I've never had a business do this, you know what I mean? Do this well, grow this rapidly. So, I just didn't know if I can afford to hire somebody. But, my friend Kiana McGee, she's a lawyer, and I went to her. She opened her law firm, her office. I went to her opening, and we were talking about it, and she was like, I was like, yeah, I feel like I need to hire somebody. She was like, you need to hire somebody or you gonna die. Like,
you can't sustain this. Yeah.
She was like, you gonna kill yourself. Like, you need to hire somebody. She was like, whatever it costs, you're gonna make it back. Like, it's not going to kill you. You need to hire somebody. And I'm like, okay.
But that was like uncharted territory for you. Yes, so again, it's like taking that leap of faith, putting one foot in front of the other. I got you. Yeah.
I'm responsible for her at this point. You know what I mean? And then,
oh, that's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, it's a ton of responsibility. And her, it was another girl working at the law firm, Sharita. I love her too. We were talking in the back, and she was so sweet about it. She was like, yeah, baby, you need to hire somebody. This not gonna work. Wow. And I'm like, okay. So I feel like that week I talked to an accountant, because I did get an accountant like kind of as soon as the first month we did 5 figures. I was like, all right, tell me what to do with this.
Golly.
Tell me what to do with this. So I checked with the accountant. She's like, you should be good. My mom came over, and I was like, okay, I think it's time. I was like, I'm going to need you to quit your job Friday. And she was like, yeah, Friday?
Yeah.
Okay. Like, she was ready because, one, I just didn't like the job for her. The job she was working, it was like, she barely got a break. She was working 6 days a week. Like, it was very like, nah, you bigger than this. You deserve more than this, you know? So, it was such a moment that even hitting, because I feel like, which sounds crazy, but we had already made 6 figures at that point, but you're constantly like spending, and you're making money and you're spending
so
it to grow the business. So it's coming in and
going out, right.
And so I wasn't sure if I could hire somebody, but so hitting 6 figures, that's such a thing. That's such a thing, even on Instagram, whatever. I didn't have the emotional response I thought I would have. I was just like, oh, nice. Like, but you still have a daily goal tomorrow. You know what I mean? So I didn't have the response I thought I would have, but telling my mom, like, quit your job. I got you. Like, we both cried.
Oh my God. Yeah, because it's like you're not gonna have a response to, and that makes sense because some people might be like, oh man, I mean, shit, I mean 6 figures. I mean, what, she don't appreciate that? No, she does.
Yeah.
But it was like you had to figure out, or you had to see the impact, the positive impact that would have on other people's lives.
Because money,
that's the connection. Money is just money. But when you saw how it changed somebody's life, and now they don't have to go into this job that they're stressed out about. Same thing with your sister who works for it.
Yep. Same with my sister. Like,
sister works for it too. It's crazy. Yeah.
She was in New York. Mm-hmm. And it just clicked because she's also really big into fashion. My sister is so crazy talented. Like, I'm kind of like kind of a marketing mind, but she is like a technical mind. Like, she knows how to knit. Like, she can knit you a whole situation. She can sew. She can do all of that. So she was in New York, and as we're still needing, like, the company is still growing, we're still needing help. And my mom's like, well, what about Lynn? And I'm like, oh yeah. So she started helping with customer service, but now she helps with the buying.
Wow. Mm-hmm. And you have 7 total employees.
Yes.
God, you growing.
And honestly, it's like, who am I to manage y'all? I don't know. This is crazy. Like, it's so wild to grow into a leadership position like this. So.
Well, no, look, I think, what the brilliant thing is about you is that you hire the right people.
Yes.
Like, I'm looking at her vlog, and she was like, the reason why I don't really hire interns as much is because now I got to train you, and I know you looking to get something from me and looking for me to groom you. But, even though you end up spending more when you hire the person who can do the job really well, it works out. In the long run, because it's less that you'll have to do. So you empower people to do their job.
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't like to not. Even like our models, everybody that is involved with Hoop Mobb is gonna get paid, because otherwise you kind of feel indebted to people in some kind of way, or like it just gets icky and murky.
It gets weird.
You know what I mean? It's like, nah, what's the rate?
What's your rate? Yeah.
Because now we're clear. This is a service. This is the rate. Whatever.
And then certain people who are really important, you don't got to worry about them thinking like, oh, I got to look for another job to supplement this one.
Absolutely. Right. So, especially if I don't know, that just comes back down to morals and values. You know what I mean? If I know that this person is going to really be valuable to the company and help us grow. Absolutely. They should be compensated for that.
Absolutely. And the other thing too, like with your mom, for instance, or actually I want to go in this direction with the vlog. You had an issue one day, and this is something that's crazy because y'all got to go to her vlog. On this particular day, they had 2 items that had the same picture. Right. And so it was a scenario where either they purchased 2 of one product, or they selected the one where it was out of stock.
Right.
And you actually walked through, you didn't panic. You just kind of made a pivot and you walked through, the steps taken to work through this issue and rectify the situation with the customers and this, that, and the third. So that
happens every day still to this day.
Like problems all the time.
All the time. Like, I see people who kind of like crumble very fast at little stuff. And it's like, I do have sympathy, but it's also like, this is going to happen. Like, you know what I mean? Stuff happens all the time. Like, we see it even with me. Stuff happens all the time in the business that the bigger you get, it's like, all right, I got to take on more responsibility. So, I try not to panic now. It's so funny. They just called me last week about something. Last week something happened, and I'm like, just do X, Y, and Z. And they're like, oh, okay. I'm like, we don't have to, it's so funny because I can tell when they're like scared to tell me something. Yeah. And I'm like, what is it?
Yeah. Just say it. Okay.
We got to work it out, you know? So, I really try not to, because we have to figure it out one way or another. Even if it's refunding customers or, sending an apology email, something like, you know what I mean? It might not even be that big, but you just got to keep moving because it's always going to be something.
Man, that's so dope though that you empower people to do their jobs. There's and you said this on a recent podcast that you were on, or maybe a few years back. You basically said that you had hired somebody else to keep you guys more organized, and one of their suggestions was more meetings, I think. And before that, you guys were having like quarterly meetings. This guy named Thomas Sowell, I always quote him. He's an economist, and he's also an author, and he pretty much said that people who enjoy meetings shouldn't be in charge of anything. But there's some truth to that, because even at my job, I'm like, we just talking about the same problem and we going in circles. Like, what's the solution?
What's the solution?
So the fact that, you don't waste people's time in that way. And like, you could take that time and focus on what you're supposed to be doing, and I empower you to do it. And I actually am okay with you making honest mistakes. You allow people to be imperfect.
And and I'm growing in that way too. Because still something I'm learning.
Yeah.
Because I've done all the jobs involved in Hoop Mobb. To where letting them go, I had to say, even if they don't do it my way, that's fine. Is it done? You know what I mean? Is it something that a customer is going to notice the difference? Is it something that I'm just nitpicking at? Is it something that if I just correct, will that bring down the morale into where they're like, damn, she getting on my nerves. You know what I mean? Like, I have to think about all of these things in leadership. But, and I am learning, like, it is good to have a meeting so everybody's clear on what's happening. You know what I mean? But if I get meetings back to back to back, I'm like,
come on, man.
Count me
out.
Come
on. That's what I left corporate for.
Right.
Yeah.
And that, honestly, that is what I fight tooth and nail every day to not make Hoop Mobb corporate, because I feel like we all enjoy our job right now, and I would hate for that to shift one day.
Yeah, because that's what all your employees say is like, man, thankfully I'm working at a place where I don't have to stress out. I can check my phone.
Yeah.
I can go out and get some coffee, and it don't have to be 12 p.m. when I go do it, whatever the case may be. Or even if it's
like, well, I can't come in today, but I'm going to come in this day. I don't care. Just get it done.
Just get your job done.
Yeah.
Wow, man. Yeah, so you killing it. 2022, you spoke at AspireCon in Mexico.
Yes.
And your daughter was there with you, and she's looking at mommy. How does it feel to have her be able to witness your ascension in the business world? Like, how is that feeling? I mean, because I'm sure she was just proud, right?
Yeah, and her reality is something that I never experienced as a 5-year-old. She doesn't know. She just doesn't know anything else. Again, her dad has a brand. She's at the office. She's at mommy's office. You know what I mean? She kicks her shoes off at the office. She's just real comfortable in there. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's something that I'm just really proud. Sometimes I have to sit and I'm like, wow, I'm so grateful that she has this experience. And honestly, we have to reel it in sometimes because she's like, I'm rich. I'm like, girl, no, you're not.
Hold on.
Please.
Yeah.
Hush. But I think it just, she is not going to have to overcome some of the mental hurdles that we've had to overcome, just because our parents were in survival mode. You know what I mean? So she is coming from a perspective of whatever she can come up with a business if she wants to. You know what I mean? And no one is looking at her like, girl, no, you can't. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like her lens is different because she sees the possibilities. Her creativity is being catered to. Like, she's super duper creative. Like, she is a natural born artist. Like, she can draw like nobody's business. And so stuff like that, I'm like, yes, do more of that. What do you want to do with that? So we're just kind of paying attention to her. But I feel like I'm really proud that she knows who she is, and that she is, again, just not going to have those mental roadblocks to get to her purpose.
No, because it's like, look what you achieved. So when she comes to you with this outrageous, crazy idea of what she wants to do, who's going to understand it better than you? Right? Yeah. So talk about self-care too as an entrepreneur. There was one post that you did where you decided to go to Miami on a solo trip at 10:30 p.m. You flew out at 8:30 that next day. Yes. And then you basically said that your last business trip you hated it, right? So you wanted to make it a point to enjoy this one, and you look like you enjoyed yourself.
I did.
So what was the difference in that trip and maybe your the last business trip that you had to solo?
Well, that business trip, that was a huge mistake because I flew to LA. I did a turnaround trip to LA, and that time difference, it was just too much. Because I think I flew in that morning, went to visit my vendors, and then flew out the next morning. So it was just no. But yes, I'm really big on self-care and just really, I don't know,
resting, rejuvenating.
Like literally I just came back from Charlotte, and that was random too. Like I think I booked that trip on like Tuesday or Wednesday and left on Saturday,
yeah.
Because I'm like, as parents, you're like, once you get some free time, I want to maximize my free time. And I just think it is very important I am not one of those entrepreneurs that are like living and breathing my business 24/7. I am thinking, like, if something comes to me, I'm like, oh, let me write that down, or like, oh, that'll be a good idea. But I know how to check out, you know what I mean? And I think it's really important because sometimes you're just not pleasant to be around if you own all the time, you know what I mean? And then that's a lot of stress. And I feel like the point of all of this is to be able to live life and enjoy, you know what I mean? Like, what's the point of building a huge business and like making a lot of money if you can't really enjoy it? You know what I mean? And the freedom. So I'm big on freedom. I'm even trying to figure out how to get more of that as far as like, even with like my daughter going to school, I'm like, dang, this schedule really don't work for us. As an entrepreneur, like sometimes she's going to bed at 11 because that's the schedule we're on. So I'm like, what does this look like for us? Do we need a private teacher and like work out our own thing, So, I'm big on just like, I feel like we don't take the time to see like the frustrations in our lives, like what's causing it. You know what I mean? Like if I'm always angry in the mornings, why is that? Is it because I'm rushing around? Did I not set myself up at night? Right? Like I'm big on like solutions basically. So,
and you're constantly wrestling with yourself too. That's one of your strengths. Even when you talked about how you manage your employees, with this, if I bring this up, is that micromanaging? Am I being overbearing? We keep going to sleep at 11 o'clock. Do I need to get another teacher to kind of help? Like you're always trying to figure out how to, even with the whole New York situation, why am I feeling like this? Oh, because I'm still in New York. Let me go. Right. So you're always constantly doing that. And I think even as an entrepreneur, and you're not only an entrepreneur, but you're a creative, you're an artist. When you travel, I can only imagine that you gain inspiration. Like you're still working because that inspiration informs how you go about improving your business and whatever products you sell. And you could be somewhere in London at a Beyonce concert, VIP on stage. She was so close to Beyonce, she could smell her perfume. She was a backup dancer, basically, on stage. She had a concierge service, some woman walking around telling them stuff. I just wanted to throw that in there because that's just crazy.
In the name of self-care.
That was crazy.
Thank you.
How was that experience?
Yeah, that experience was crazy. And honestly, I don't know if it's a blessing and a curse to have friends that are also as crazy as you, because me and my friend were on the phone like, I think this could happen. I think we can make this work, So, but the experience was great. That was my first time in London to see Beyonce. That was my whole thing, like Beyonce on stage in London.
Crazy.
Yes.
Crazy.
Sign me up.
Crazy.
So yeah, that was a great experience.
Okay. So we almost at the end, y'all, but I got a few more questions. Okay, so here we go. Because again, I told y'all she just came from North Carolina and she gonna take a nap. I hope she taking naps. Man, this girl been working, man. Yes. So you won the Circle of Seven Award at the top of the year. It was at the TSP Game Plan 2023 conference. TSP stands for Traffic, Sales, and Profit. And you won that award because your business had hit the 7-figure mark, and it did it twice in the 4.5 years that you've been in business.
The third year. We just did the third year.
Okay.
Hallelujah.
So
But yes,
it's the third year. Damn. I don't even. What I'm gonna say? Bridget? What's the next topic? Should we end it? Should we? So she did. So for the third year in a row, then they asked you to come back to the TSP Live 2023 conference, right? And you were a speaker on the 7-figure panel.
Yes.
You giving back game.
Yes.
To all of these aspiring entrepreneurs. And some of the other speakers, y'all, were Jermaine Dupri. He's this guy that owns So Def, brought you artists like The Brat, hits from Usher. Who else? Criss Cross, Escape. The list goes on, right? Who else was it there? I think Cathy Hughes,
yes,
right? She's the owner of TV One. You took a picture with her.
Yes.
She's also the owner of Radio One. She's worth about $500 million, I think, right?
Amazing.
Jermaine Dupri, Issa Rae,
yes,
creator of the hit show, groundbreaking show, culturally impactful show, Insecure. So you a guest speaker.
I need to come back.
Yeah, right. Because we've been bored ever since. So you were a guest speaker with these people. How did that feel coming back and being on the list? Because on the website, it's their picture, then your picture, So how did that feel?
It was amazing, honestly. I feel like I have kind of been avoiding becoming a brand myself, or just kind of I go live with the company and I'm in front of our customers, but I haven't really stepped into that entrepreneur speaking. Sometimes I do it, but I haven't really done it. You know what I mean? So it felt great to be acknowledged, one, for the award earlier this year, because again, sometimes you just don't celebrate yourself like you should. And so I'm like, yeah, we did that. You know what I mean? It felt really good to be acknowledged for that. And then to speak on the stage, I think that was last month.
Yeah. That was right before the Essence Fest. So you was back to back to back.
I was back to back. Still tired, okay? But that was, it was a great experience. I was really honored to be asked to do it. And I just really love to share with people because, you say, oh, we hit 7 figures, and they're like, oh my God. And I'm like, yep, but I'm nobody special. You can do it too. I literally, there's so many things that could have prevented me from doing that, but it's just faith, belief, all of that mixed together. I just really try to show people you can do it. It's a lot of people say oh, you're really relatable. And I'm like, yes, because I'm from Flint, you know what I mean? Literally went to community college, all of that. It's nothing. Obviously God has given me a gift, but he's given us all a gift. You know what I mean? So I love to talk to people about business. I get really amped up when people are telling me an idea, and I'm like, oh yeah, then you should do this and then da-da-da. I get really excited about that because I love to see people dream. You know what I mean? So to just assist in that process was really nice to do.
Wow, that's so crazy, man. One thing too about you is how dope you are at creating content. And I know you had a role doing that at I want to say the Lip Bar, maybe, right?
Oh yes.
Right. So I'm sure that was another character in your story, the Lip Bar, because you probably learned how to I guess create content and just be creative with respect to doing it, at that location. And I'm sure that's informed how great you are at doing it with your business, because it seems like you never run out of stuff to post. You even have a vlog where you talked about day in the life. Yeah. You did a photo shoot, all of that stuff. So how important content is king. How important is that?
Content is king. It's really important. And yes, shout out to the Lip Bar. Shout out to Roscoe. Shout out to Melissa, because they played I went to school with Roscoe. Yes. They played a huge role in just even my confidence in social media. I feel like I knew I was creative again, but I'm like, oh, I don't know if I know how to build a following, a brand, this and that, And then again, God was like, all right, let me show you. Actually, you can. You know what I mean? So being there at the Lip Bar one, it was just so working with just Black women all day, every day is oh, thank you. I'm home. You know what I mean? So shout out to them. But yes, content is king. Even now, I'm constantly looking at our page. I'm like, oh, it's getting boring. Let me post something else, get some engagement going or whatever, because that is how, we connect with our customers. That is such a huge part of our business. So it's even scary when people are like, oh, what if Instagram goes down? What if this goes down? And it's you have to think about those things. You know what I mean? So we obviously have email and text and all of that, but I love to connect with our audience through social and through content. But it's huge. Like we're constantly shooting. We're constantly like just looking at trends and trying to figure out like how do we fit into the space. Some things we don't touch on everything because you know sometimes you just don't need to have an opinion on everything. I think that's why a lot of brands go wrong. It's like, oh, this is coming up, let's create some content about that. It's like, but does that relate to your customer? Or do you really have a solid viewpoint on that? So if we don't have a solid viewpoint and like can connect in an authentic way, we won't touch it. Because I'm like, it's so, because consumers are so smart now to where it's like they can read through some BS. It's like, oh, you just trying to X, Y, and Z, you know. It's like, so we don't touch on everything, but we do try to make sure that we speak to our customer and really engage them.
You ain't no joke when it comes to campaigning. You one of your vlogs, you talked about like Black History Month. You was like, man, we can't necessarily beat them over the head with Martin Luther King just every, you know. We can have 1 week for that, but oh wait, our business anniversary is February 1st, so we'll do something for that. Oh, Valentine's Day coming up, we'll do something for that.
Because people social media is so fast. Just think, a few days ago we couldn't stop talking about Keke Palmer, now we over it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's so fast to where you can't stretch a campaign throughout the whole month
People's
anymore.
Attention spans won't handle it.
It's like, okay, enough. So it's really important to understand even how you consume content. So that's why I tell like our social person, and just when people will ask me like, so when's the best time to post? I always say, when do you sit and scroll? It's in the morning. Is it, when are you just sitting and scrolling? Is it late at night or whatever? So those are the best times to post. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like a lot of people try to have some like special formula, and it's like, just take yourself out of it as a business person and as a consumer. Like, how do you naturally interact with stuff? So that's what I try to do with our customers, is like, okay, if I was coming here, I would want this person to talk to me like this or to treat me like this. That's why our customer service is such a big thing, is because I don't want you to have a negative experience with us. We can't please everybody, obviously, but even if we can't please you and make you happy in that situation, I can be polite about it. You know what I mean? I can, I don't have to be nasty, basically. You know,
it's not a whole lot of debate or contentious discussion back and forth. It's like, okay, if you got a product in the mail, maybe it arrived damaged, because something happened after it left us and before it got to you. All right, I'll just refund your money or give you a new one. What I'm gonna waste time on this for?
It's not a big thing for us. We really try to take care of our customers, because I always tell people, I don't want to lose a customer over $12.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, some of our earrings are as low as $12. I'm like, that's not worth an argument. Send them another pair.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Y'all take care of y'all, especially all of the rewards and the mob dollars and stuff like that. Like, you get 25 points for signing up for the VIP, 1 point on every dollar you spend, all of this stuff. So y'all need to go to the website. Y'all need to become a part of the mob if you're not already, and check it out. And also, you a vegan too. We don't have to talk much about this, but I want to ask you one question. Has it actually helped? As far as, because lifestyle of an entrepreneur, you all over the place.
Yes.
Has being a vegan actually helped with that?
It is, and I'm gonna be honest and say I've been falling off. We went to New Orleans now.
No, you can't be no vegan in no New Orleans with all them oysters and stuff out there.
No way. But I will say, when I do like fall off or something, you can see the difference immediately. Like, in your energy and just your attitude, like, it really, really helps to kind of bring clarity and energy when I eat right. And so I do make sure, like, I'm like, all right, if I have some chicken today, I got to clean it up tomorrow. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Like, because you think you're being slick, or like, oh, it's not gonna hurt anything, but then it's like, oh, I've been sluggish for the rest of the day, or I can't focus. You know what I mean? So it definitely makes a difference.
All right, man. Well, I'm so happy that you came on. So fortunate. I learned so much, man, especially like the whole trip to New York and how you stepped out on faith, and how if you hadn't had that experience, I don't think you would be as successful as you are today with Hoop Mobb, because every day requires you to not worry about what's happening tomorrow and just put one foot in front of the other. It's
Absolutely.
like worry about what you can control
Yep.
and turn over the stuff that you can't to God. And also, like I said, shout out to the late great Emma Jean. Robin, when you came back from New York, your mama basically told you that she believed in you.
Absolutely.
She told you that she knows what you're passionate about. Don't rush, slow down, and also she told you wasn't crazy, because that's what people think when you move from Cali or New York back to Detroit or Flint. So just so many lessons in that. And, I really do appreciate you, and I want you to know how much you've not only inspired me, but how much you're inspiring so many other people in the fact that you put God first, because a lot of people gain all the success and it's like, oh, it's me. And it's like, no, it was actually God using me as a vessel. So I have to direct you guys back to him so you know who's responsible for this. So I love that that's a part of your journey, and you're unapologetic about that too.
Yeah, because it doesn't mean all of this stuff don't mean anything. And you can feel when you're kind of getting off and like too deep off into like the stuff or the business and stuff, and you're not really kind of centering yourself. It's like it doesn't mean anything if you're not really giving it back to him.
Absolutely. And the last thing, don't pursue no business if you think it's going to give you more freedom. I remember you said that, because this trade-off. So even in corporate, I got a job, I'm on my company's time clock, so I have freedom in the sense that if they have a bad month, I'm still going to get paid, right? But when you're a business owner, you might have freedom in terms of your schedule, right? But you don't have freedom in terms of when you want to be with your kids or when you want to hang around your friends and stuff like that. So it's really about doing it for the right reasons.
Absolutely.
Do it because you want to serve the world through your purpose. Do it because you want to be what God called you to be. Do it because I don't know, because you want to leave behind a legacy that's going to benefit and inspire people here long after you're gone. Like, do it for the right reasons. Do it because you want a stronger reason to get up in the AM. But if you do it for those reasons, you're going to be around for a long time. Absolutely. Like Donyale.
Oh, thank you.
So shout out to the queen of the Hoop Mob. Can you look into this camera and tell people where they can follow you?
Yes, so you can follow Hoop Mobb on Instagram at the Hoop Mobb. We are on Facebook too. We're just Hoop Mobb on Facebook, but you can also join our Facebook group, which is Hoop Mobb Hideout. Just search it and request to join. We'll add you to that. And then you can shop hoopmobb.com. And then if you want to follow me personally, I'm down at Donyale Walton on Instagram. Okay,
we got to get out of here because this is her third year in a row doing over 7 figures. She got places to be. So shout out to Donyale Walton again. And this Conversations with TinBridge. Peace.